XOXO, got the girl. Pose.
Audra at Home is filmed in front of a live Pitbull audience.
Good morrow and merry meet. My name is Audra and you are in for a treat. Now, as you know, when I don't have any makeup on, we're gonna get ready and we're gonna talk about things. And if you wanna get ready with me, then more power to you. If you wanna take your makeup off, then also more power to you. Today I wanted to talk about relatability because I cannot remember the name of this channel and I will try to put it here, but between her and Smoky Glow, kind of talking about irrelevancy, like becoming irrelevant on YouTube, I wanted to revisit relatability. Now, when I'm talking about it, I'm obviously talking about it from like my opinion. So that definitely changes, I guess, the conversation because everybody's going to talk about things from obviously their perspective and their opinion. And you know, relatability is this thing that there isn't a quantifiable measure of relatability. We don't know exactly why someone's relatable. They just are. Like, there are people that are relatable to you that aren't relatable to me and vice versa, right? So there are people that I'm going to be like, oh yeah, I completely relate to them, their lifestyle, all of that. And that's how I'm going to feel about them, but you're not going to feel the same way. Or you might, who knows? But one thing is for sure, it's not money that stops making someone relatable. And I say that, listen, I don't know if they're testing my storm system here, but like the extreme weather's horn just keeps going off. And so I'm just gonna persevere. But as I was saying, it's not money that stops making someone relatable. And I say this because if that were the case, the Kim Kardashians, the Paris Hiltons, and even like the Tana Mojos wouldn't continue to be relatable to their fans. Do you know what I mean? Like, they wouldn't continue to be relatable. And I think, as Emily and I have discussed when we talk about it, it's because they have a relatability that's aspirational, meaning their relatability is in the fact that one day you hope to live a life like them, if that makes sense. It does make sense. Stop asking that. But you know, your goal in life is to one day, not you per se, but the people who find them relatable, their goal is very much, I can't wear the other ones. My ears are, listen, I cannot wear my other noise cancelers, my inner ear ones, because baby, when I tell you my ears are doing the absolute most and it's disgusting, I absolutely mean it. And I'm sorry that I shared that, but also
I overshare.
It's definitely like not that. So the aspirational aspect of it, we have to kind of pay attention to, because when people are aspirational, there's like, it feels like there's nothing that they can do wrong. Like, if you are hoping that you could be, you know, like a Tati and have like oodles of money and tons of PR and do a lot of PR unboxings or whatever it is that you're interested in, I just bring that up in the beauty space. But if you're hoping for that, then their wealth doesn't offend you in any way, shape, or form. You're like, yeah, they're wealthy, but that doesn't change anything. Like, I still want to become like them, and therefore they are relatable to me because they did blah, 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 blah. And part of that too is the idea that some people either worked their way up or they were always rich. Either way. But they turned their always rich, like child of rich parents, into a brand which you find relatable and aspirational because they could have just relaxed on having money and not shown up in the public sphere. It's however you feel about it though. But in the YouTube sphere specifically, I think that people stop becoming relatable. For one, the very moment that people realize how wealthy someone is, I think that is one of the things that definitely stops a creator from being relatable, right? Because, like, for me, for instance, y'all see me every day, and for those on my Patreon, like, y'all see me living my basic boring ass life, not really doing anything. I don't buy anything super exciting, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not like, look at my new Tesla, you know, I'm just like living my basic, you know, average everyday American life to a point. Average to some, above average to others, it's relative, right? And also because I don't really flex on Instagram, I don't really show off anything, fantastic that I've purchased. It's easy to like not really know whether or not I'm wealthy. I'm not. If I were wealthy, I would not be having a job right now. But I think for creators that previously weren't wealthy, there is a level of relatability that drops once you realize exactly how wealthy they are. Part of that is the parasocial relationship. A huge part of that is the parasocial relationship, in which people tend to think, I paid for your life. I am the one who made you this way. I am the one financing your Birkin bag and your Balenciaga. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what it comes down to. But we have to realize that, like, and I even had to do this myself, y'all. Like, so don't feel like I am preaching to you, because I am not. Because when I talk about this stuff, I'm also preaching to my damn self. So please don't feel like I am calling you out in any way, because I'm also working through these problems myself. And I think that when I see that kind of stuff, when I see that somebody is wealthy, and when I have that mentality of like, I put you here, I have to take several steps back, because it wasn't me. You know what I mean? Like, I did not do that for them. Like, they were fabulous and fantastic. And I think regardless of what it was that they did, they were going to excel at it. Not to say I didn't contribute by watching their channel, buying their merch, buying their collabs. Not to say I didn't contribute in that way. Let's see, what do we have to put on the eyes today?
A little longer than a few minutes later.
I have to have my own come to Hecate moment and realize, like, you know what? They were really talented, or I find them talented. And I think that, I wouldn't have been the only one to find them talented and or interesting. So it's millions of us, right? Or thousands of us, depending, that help. But like, in the end, it's their own perseverance, right? Because like, I could do this all day long and get nowhere. Many people do YouTube and don't get very far. Some don't even get to 1,000 subscribers, and yet they continue to do it because they enjoy it, right? But like, when people start really making money in this game, it kind of changes the way that some people perceive them. And I think that that's a reason why you're definitely going to see more and more creators not really willing to show off their lives, because they know, I just dropped a bunch of shit, because they know it would be at the expense of their relatability. They're fully aware. Ooh, baby. You know what I have not done, as I have not played with my Cleona. I don't feel like I've played with it on camera. Like, look at these. Look at these. Oof. Hopefully I will have shown these off in a live here shortly, because I don't want to talk about it. Moving on. And so, I think we're definitely, as I was saying, going to see less and less creators very like interested in showing off their wealth or showing their wealth, and showing the things that they've got, because it comes at the expense of people finding them relatable. And the thing is, yeah, do some people like change the way that they behave? Definitely. But I feel like there's a lot of people who just don't. Like, they don't change their behavior. They just are who the fuck they are. And it doesn't change because they have wealth, but our perception of them changes. All of a sudden it becomes like they have everything and they should want for nothing. And like, if anything happens to them where like a bad situation arises, or they need help financially, or something goes down, I feel like there's a part of us that doesn't have any sympathy, because in our eyes, they are wealthy. And because they are wealthy, they shouldn't require our help or need our help. You know what I mean? Like, they should just be okay and be able to do whatever it is that they need to do to survive. Because as I was getting into, it's really not until the wealth is flaunted that that change in perception really takes place. That's my opinion. I think that people who find that obnoxious, all of a sudden also find the creator obnoxious. And then you just get into like that really weird territory where we're just like unceremoniously attacking somebody for like everything because they're wealthy and we're mad. And I get it, right? It does suck. You're like sitting there like I am, broke as fuck a lot of times, just like eating ramen every day. Actually, I don't eat ramen because I'm broke. I eat it because I enjoy it and it's a safe food. I know that I'll be okay if I eat ramen. Like, I won't be having a bad day with ramen. But their problems and their issues are on levels that most of us can't comprehend, right? Because they're just like, oh my God. You know, some people are just like, oh my God, like when you see people say that they ordered food from Uber or DoorDash or whatever it may be, right? And then they're complaining about the service somehow or whatever. I think we take that as like, you are an ungrateful ass piece of shit and we hate you for it. You know what I mean? Like, stop being ungrateful. We're mad. Let me get you in closer. Okay, that's better. You know, like, and we're just sitting there like, you're being ungrateful. We don't like it. Fucking stop. Which I get that, right? For some people, that doesn't change the relatability at all, right? Like, they see that and they're like, it is what it is. Like, they made money, they earned it, they've been doing very well, they've worked very hard to get here. And I think that's the thing that we forget sometimes when, like, especially I do too, is I forget like how long and hard some people have been working at this, right? Like, there's people who've been working at YouTube for literal years, and when the door opens for them, when the door bursts open and it's like things are going well, then we should have a better feeling of like, holy shit, that's amazing for you, and a lesser feeling of like, I hate that you're successful. As I was kind of alluding to before, I do think we're going to see less YouTubers flaunting their wealth, because like for me, if suddenly things popped off for me, let's say I go to bed, I wake up tomorrow and there's all of a sudden like 50,000 subscribers or 150,000 subscribers, some astronomical number that benefits me, not only my channel wise, but like financially. And like I was able to, purchase things in my life that I normally wouldn't be able to purchase, in my past poor bitch life, you know what I mean? And I feel like there is a level where there are some people that would be like, hell yeah, fucking win, get out there and win, so happy for you. And then there's others who would see that, and I feel like part of that too is because in your life, if your successes aren't coming the way that you want them to, there's definitely a jealousy there, right? Like, I know because I felt that before. Like, if my successes in my life, and it's not the same level of success, it's just my successes aren't coming the way that I had hoped that they were going to come, then yeah, I'm going to be a jealous ass bitch. I'm probably going to be rude, and I'm going to, be another person who's being shitty to somebody. And I think what's fair to talk about like flaunting wealth and what we consider flaunting wealth, because I do feel like there's a level to which, like, if you've never been able to buy something, right, your entire life, if you've worked someplace, or like if you were in service at a restaurant, you were one of the service staff, and you could never eat that at that restaurant, right? Because the food was so astronomically expensive that even with the discount, you were just like SOL, right? And I feel like there's a level of grace that some of us have for like, yes, you're just now finding, you're just now able to, and we're like, oh, congrats, yay, I'm so happy for you. But I think that there's like this level, at least for me, is like, if my successes are coming so slow and I'm doing everything I can, especially if you're also a content creator, there's like a pain that hits you in your heart where you're like, I am busting my ass, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And if you see another content creator, making it and doing well, obviously their relatability for you goes down, as it does for other people. But there's a level of feeling like you are not being successful. Do you know what I mean? Like, you are not doing well. If at your job you went for a promotion and you didn't get it, and you come to watch your favorite creator, or you scroll through Instagram and you see that your favorite creator has purchased a new car, there's a level of feeling like, you're failing in life. And so that makes them less relatable to you because they're succeeding where you are failing. And you're not actually failing, but that's how you feel. But I do feel like there's definitely some creators that can escape the ire of the public even after they flaunt their wealth. And I think it just depends on the creator. For instance, creators who are already wealthy when they started definitely get a pass, because they started wealthy. Everyone knew that they were wealthy. This wasn't like a surprise. You weren't like, they started with money. Where is the cap? Found it. They started with money. And so because of that, you're far more willing to be okay with that because it's not a change in their lifestyle. It's the same. Oh my God, y'all, me and my oil slick looks, they somehow always end up making like this a random ass oil slick look. And I can't figure out why that is my go-to look. That is my signature look, is oil slick. All right, anyways. But creators who are already wealthy escaped the ire of everybody specifically because they were already wealthy. You knew that going in. You knew that their life was different than yours, and that was already like a factor. So you didn't just suddenly be like, I don't like them because they have money. Do you know what I mean? Like, you were already on the train of like, okay, well, they've been wealthy, and that's why I've been watching their content. Like, legitimately, you're like, yeah, the whole reason I was watching them is because, like, not only is it aspirational, but it's escapism. Like, when I watch Michelle Wong, it's like a bit of an escape for me because, like, I get to go and step into the life of luxury that someone else has. Andrea Renee also, I believe, is a creator on this platform that has a lot of, I'm getting a lot of fallout here. We'll see if I can contain it. I'm like, just trying to like gently blow it off of my face. Listen, I know that didn't seem very gentle, but we're moving on. We're persevering. And it's not a huge change in their lifestyle when they get bigger because they already had money in the first place. Do you see what I'm saying? So their lifestyle doesn't even change that significantly. They were already in a big house. If they move to a bigger house, you ain't mad about it. If they get a fancy bag, you're not mad because from the inception of their channel, you've been seeing them have luxury items, luxury bags, luxury cars. It never really bothered you. And then there's other creators that weren't wealthy in the first place, but we still champion them, because of, even if they're still currently flaunting their wealth. And I think that a large part of that still championing is because of where they started from the bottom. Now we're here. Someone like Jackie Aina manages to be both, manages to be inspirational because you see that, like, she was in the military, she was not a wealthy person. Now my eyes are turning red. Great. They weren't red a second ago when I was super excited. And it's like the second I turned on the camera, red. We're going to stop being angry about it because I fucking want to. Like, for someone like Jackie Aina, the combination of her having served her country, as well as starting at a particular level, as well as being a black woman, kind of changes. I really wanted this like super long dramatic ass wing, and you know what? I'm here for it. I dig it. I wanted this like really intense wing. I'm happy about it. And I also feel like Jackie and creators of that size who started from the bottom, now we're here doing very well. I also think that they have like a grandfather clause, if that makes sense. Like, they were grandfathered in to being able to, like, if they wanted to continue flaunting their wealth today, we're not going to be mad about it. And I feel like the biggest reason we're not going to be mad is because, like, that's a culture that they came from. And so we're like, okay, before the economy hit the tank and this giant panorama attacked us, we were very happy to look at, not everybody, but a lot of us were very happy to like live vicariously through other people. It's only depressing when like your entire life is just like continuing on a down slope like mine. But then there's other people who don't get that luxury. If you know what I'm saying, like, there are people who, even after they have acquired wealth and they're doing well. And for me, I think the thing is, one of the reasons some of those folks don't escape ire and irritation from the public at large is because of the fact that, one, some of them don't seem necessarily grateful, which I know is like really just shitty to say. Be like, be grateful or else, bitch. But there's a level of feeling like they don't have any care or thought for the people that helped get them there. I know I said before, but we do help as subscribers. We do help. If it wasn't for y'all, I'm sure there would not be companies wanting to send PR my way. You know what I mean? It feels like they take advantage of their subscriber base rather than, care about the fact that these people have championed you. There are people who've been with me since I was at, subscriber count 600. They've been here. And I see y'all in the comments showing up being like, hey, and I'm like, hey, oh my gosh. Like there's somebody, Ruth Washington, who that is their handle, so I'm not exposing them, but they have been part of my little YouTube family for a really long time. So it's like, you see those folks, and when I see y'all, when I recognize your name, I'm just like, oh my God, hey, how are you doing? How is your life, baby? You know what I mean? I'm so excited to, one, just be able to see that you stayed here all of that time, because holy shit, my channel has changed significantly. I've allowed myself to be more of myself. But I feel like the creators who get wealthy and it doesn't feel like they seem to acknowledge that, they put out a lot of content or whatever, they don't really interact with their subscriber base or their fans. They're really doing a lot of weird price gougey shit that people don't like. I mean, it is what it is, but that's what's happening. And so it just kind of becomes this feeling of they don't care, they just want money, and they're just using me. And I think that also changes relatability for a lot of creators. If it feels like you're using people, then they don't like it. Remember before I mentioned Tana Mojo, there's it's very interesting because you have two factions, right? You have this faction that is going to support Tana no matter what. They continue watching her content. They subscribe to her OnlyFans. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, so we'll probably bleep it. But they'll pay for everything. They paid for her to fake marry some dude, allegedly. Which Paul was it? Because I feel like it was Jake. Because it seems like Logan seems to occasionally have moments where he's not an awful person. So, more power to him. But then there's another whole faction who's how can you still watch them? And it's the same with even a Jeffree Star, right? Obviously there's a lot of other issues that arise in that, but I feel like Tana has some racist tendencies that a lot of people sometimes gloss over, but we're gonna move on. But that being the case, right, what happens is people just have obviously the parasocial relationship changes that as well and makes a huge difference in how a lot of people perceive that, right? Because parasocially, there's a number of reasons why we have these parasocial relationships, right? If somebody got you through hard times. I know I had some pretty intense parasocial relationships in my mind before we actually even became friends, with Jen of Jen Love, 90s Love Child, because these are people who, whether they knew it or not, at the time, I was going through some of the roughest moments in my life. I just was recently divorced. I was living in a room, and then I moved into my first apartment by myself since I was in my 20s. These folks were basically my friends because I just really had, when I don't know, people don't really talk about this as much, or probably they do. I just never pay attention because I live in my own little bubble. But the way in which when you get divorced, your friend groups change. Somebody gets the friends, and honestly, I didn't like most of those people, so I was like, you can have them. Oh, Audra, you're telling too many secrets today, but I digress. But you don't have a lot of friends, and especially with the amount of work that I was doing, I was working a lot. I was working, honestly 12, 13, sometimes even 14-hour days. That changed my ability to even make friends. And honestly, the older you get, the harder it gets to make friends. So those parasocial relationships are important. And I feel should we have boundaries? yes, obviously we should have boundaries. You shouldn't just like allow everybody to step all over you. But I also don't think we should make fun of parasocial relationships the way that we do, because some of these folks, like I said, you know, I would get up in the morning and some of these people, even Teresa's dead, you know, later on, these people started to become my friend group, my imaginary friend group. Like, they were real people, but they were my imaginary friends. And these people started to become my friend group. They were there for me when no one else was. You know, they were who I hung out with while I got ready in the morning. They were who I hung out with on my long, shitty fucking commute back from work. They were there for me on holidays that I just didn't feel like spending with other people. Like, there was a lot there that they were doing for me. So it's just like impossible for me to act like they had no impact on my life and that I didn't have, you know, weird expectations of them. You know what I mean? That like, I expected better. But I also do think that relatability will get there. I'm driving on a bus that's going somewhere. But I think in my final thoughts with relatability are that age definitely has a role in whether or not and how strongly you feel about relatability as well as parasocial relationships. Now, I'm going to say age and I'm going to say familiarity with technology and how the internet works. And the reason I say that is because there are people who are older than me who don't truly understand how the internet works. And so, while they understand that there's parasocial relationships to a degree, they're not really understanding like to what degree they're participating in it, and may sometimes, you know, cross boundaries. But when it comes to that, like, I think a big difference is because I was at my big age in my late 30s by the time I started, you know, really paying attention and watching all these creators. Like, I liked them and I thought to myself, like, oh, we could be friends in real life. But like, it was never to the point where I had like way too high of an expectation for them, or I never was like sending them messages being like, hey, you want to be friends and hang out? You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't doing that. Don't do that. Yeah, don't do that. It's weird. But I think being older definitely changes that, and that most people, I don't necessarily look for a whole shit ton of relatability. I'm not going to say I don't ever look for it, but I'm also saying like I'm a lot of times there for the content, and I'm just interested in what you may have to say. I stay for your personality, obviously. But there are definitely creators I don't even particularly like, but I like their content, you know what I mean? And so I'm just like watching it and I'm like, okay. Let's do some awkward slow-mos and wrap it up. I think that because, you know, I'm older and I get it, right? I grew up with the internet. I understand this relationship. So relatability to me it varies, right? And it depends on the content on whether or not I find someone relatable. And then there's younger generations who totally get that because they're also growing up completely, like, they're just growing up on the internet. I grew up with the birth of the internet. They're growing up, the internet's here. They don't even have like in-home phones. Like, they don't even, wow, that really just aged me a lot. Like, wow. They don't know what it was like nights and weekends. But because of that, I think they're growing up in a world that is definitely explaining these kinds of relationships and, you know, explaining the parasocial relationship, and then also understanding why they may or may not find that someone is relatable. Because, like, I think that we can look at things, obviously I talked about the aspirational end of it, and I like to talk about the fact that there are some people who just don't seem to have a grasp of their audience. And I think that that is the biggest thing that tends to make people unrelatable. When you don't have a grasp of your audience and you don't have a grasp of why they like you, when you do a random like 180, That's what I think really affects relatability. Like, and again, I cannot remember her channel name. It's like it starts with a C, but she was talking about Gabby Hanna and how it felt like Gabby Hanna just never seemed to understand how she got her success because she was just kind of jumping on to other things. You should watch that video. It's a really good video, by the way. But because of that, Gabby just kind of ran all over the planet. I'm not talking about all the bullshit she's done now. I'm just talking about relatability today. And was just kind of running all over, just trying to grab a hold of like whatever it was that made her successful. And she didn't really understand that. And I feel like the same thing happens with relatability. Y'all are used to seeing me like this. I feel like if I suddenly was just booming overnight. I went to bed with my little over 9K subscribers and then woke up with 150,000 subscribers and things were changing and my life financially was different. I think it would definitely change how you felt about me if you noticed that not only was my content moving in a more like luxury direction, for instance, that also you would see that like my home had changed significantly, where I had a lot more stuff. If you notice that on Instagram, I'm flexing, you know, fancy ass bags and fancy shoes. I think it would completely change how a lot of you felt about me, because you'd be like, you know, I felt like Audra was down to earth, maybe not down to earth, weird on earth. I felt like Audra was weird on earth, but now I feel like Audra is definitely weird on another planet. And that can make you feel some type of way. And there's not a lot. I'm not saying that creators should, you know, force themselves to like hide their lives or change the way that they are in order to remain relatable. But I am going to say that as a creator, I find that it's not in my best interest to, one, flex anything, two, to really be like showing off your wealth. And I think that that's something that creators in my range know that like now moving forward, just it's not a good idea, because anything that happens, it's not just about the relatability. You become unliked by people as they start struggling in their lives. If you're all succeeding, then it's all good, right? But the second that you kind of stumble and fall and you see one of your favorite relatable creators still rising, there is a feeling that like you can't relate to them anymore because they're doing well. You don't feel you are. And it's hard to watch their content. It's a hard pill to swallow. It's like hard to see someone succeeding when it feels like you are not. So I don't know if there is a conclusion other than relatability is just what it is to whomever, right? There are creators that I'm going to say, you know, that I think are relatable, as I said at the beginning, that you know, right? And there's going to be creators that I don't even care if they're relatable. I'm going to watch their content because I find it interesting. I find some of the stuff that they say funny. I've been watching a lot of like film YouTube or film tube. I've been watching a lot of that moving, you know, so I think that in the end, you get to choose who's relatable to you, but I do think we need to kind of stop using that term as a way to say like whether or not a creator is interesting or has a good audience or good following, because whether or not they are relatable doesn't always seem to measure up to their final success goals or their continuing success. All right, that's it. I'm finished now. I look amazing. I think I'm gonna go hop on Twitch for a little bit because I feel like playing a game. Look at my armpits. All right. If you would do me a favor and give this video a big thumbs up, because then that way the algorithm goddess can continue to push me further down in the algorithm so that I can keep doing whatever the fuck I want to. Until next time, huge shout out to my patrons and spooky bays. Yeah. All right, you know the drill. It costs $0 to be kind. It is so good for your soul, because if you don't take care of it, I'm sure as hell coming for yours. For all of you, including the patrons who keep the bats in the belfry and the spiders firmly ensconced in their webs, as well as all of you who watch these videos and interact and engage. I also been having trouble with my engagement. Not you, it's me. YouTube keeps doing a thing on the comments page, so I think I'm commenting to you and all of the comments disappear and all that's left is a thumbs up and a heart. So I'm trying to pay more attention to that, all right? All right, I'm done now. XOXO! Got the girl! Why is that siren going off? There better not be any goddamn tornadoes trying to drop down right now. I don't have time for that. Oh my god. Me and these like random color combos. Don't make everyone uncomfortable with your presence. I feel like my allergies kicked up the good. They're mowing. Duh. Like, is it broken? Can y'all fix it? Did y'all break it mowing? Please fix it. I don't really want that color scheme. I'm tired of it. Whoa. Oh, bitch. Yes, I'm so proud of myself for this maneuver. Thank you. You're welcome. I like this one. I'm not gonna throw this video out.